lines are open.
Keep on laughing.
Give us a call.
You gotta keep on caring. As long as you've got a voice, don't ever stop. As long as you've got truth.
Oh, that's right. You gotta stay tuned with us right here on Facebook Live. That's on WCRS 98.5 /1450 AM. And that's where we are. So make sure you tune in this morning. I got a lot of good stuff to talk about. Hey, a few minutes ago, we gave out the quote for the day, and this one was really a good one. I wonder if anybody knows what the name of the person that said this husband was. Maybe it's true that life begins at 50, but everything else starts to wear out, fall out, or spread out. She was a crazy comedian. And as I said earlier, she was so outrageous for the day. But today, one of my great texters had a comment about that on who would she be considered like. So I just want to play a little bit of this and see if you agree that today this person, okay, Phyllis Diller, would be considered like... Yes, it's true, Mr. Rogers. All right. That's the neighborhood theme for Mr. Rogers. But I just thought I would play that. I thought that was a terrific analysis. Now, back in the day, Phyllis Diller always was telling stories about her husband. Does anybody out there remember? Do you remember what her husband's name was? And if you were a little kid watching this, you just did not understand, which is probably why it stands out in my brain, that she was always talking about that. And you may remember Phyllis Diller always had a cigarette holder with a cigarette. You know, back in the day, they did this on live TV, but she had a cigarette holder. So what was her husband's name? She was always talking about him. You know, that's, anyways, can you tell me that? 864-229-7984. Does anybody know who Phyllis Diller's husband's name, what she called him, was? She was always talking about things that would be, as we said, like Mr. Rogers today, but back in the day were almost scandalous. Yes, it's true. 864, or if you're on Facebook, want to make a comment, love to hear you there, right here on WCRS Radio. All right, anybody know the answer? Because I got to move on. All right, I will tell you what the name of her husband was, and why I still remember it, I have no idea. It was Fang. Remember Fang? She was always telling stories about Fang. I'm going to have to find some clips and see if they're good enough we can play them on the radio, just because this is such a hoot. All right, but moving on. On another side of the story is we lost Who's Sorry Now, the one and only Connie Francis. That's right, Connie Francis. Left us yesterday. She was 87, I believe, 87, and such a iconic person back in the 60s that it is sad to see another one leave us. So if you remember Connie Francis, that's why I played Who's Sorry Now, and there were so many others. Didn't she also sing Where the Boys Are? I think that's right. But Connie Francis was a huge talent in the world at the time, and just iconic for her time. And so I wanted to mention her name right here on the radio because I think it's important that we remember people who shaped and faced and was a face and someone that at the time everybody knew. So we're here at WCRS honoring the fact that Connie Francis is no more, and another one passes away. All right, so Connie Francis, did want to mention her here this morning, and of course I want to get into the fact that that $9 billion through a lot of drama, the Senate was able to pass this bill. So they passed the Votorama rescissions package. It's now up to the House to act quickly, then on to the president before the deadline tomorrow. It was a 48-50 vote, I think. You would have thought that we were tearing out the heart of our country with this $9 billion. It's hard for me to believe. It's hard for me to believe that they can't seem to get together on this and get it done. What is the problem with just being upfront and ready to? You say you want to cut spending, but their actions do not speak of people that want to cut spending. So, but they did do it. They got it done. They did stop some foreign aid, and and some public broadcasting money is out of the budget. So they will now move on. The House has to review it today. Since the Senate changed the original bill, the House must vote again. If it passes by the House a second time, it goes to Trump's desk, and the deadline is tomorrow. Programs affected to include foreign aid, but PEPFAR was specifically was protected, plus cuts to the public broadcasting funding. Probably not as much cuts as some people thought, some of the senators thought there should be, but that was negotiated. They had this Votorama going on. I guess they just want the everything to be on them. But anyways, they passed it. It's at the House, so consider that another win for President Trump and his agenda. It goes to the House. I'm sure it'll pass the House, and I'm sure it'll get there. But what an ordeal. You'd think we're ripping out the heart of everything when this type of thing happens, instead of just saying $9 billion, that's a drop in the bucket over what we owe and what we feel is necessary. What will it mean to public broadcasting? Well, they have to figure out how to survive. I've been listening to some of our talk show hosts on here. One of the things they were talking about last night was Ken Burns, a phenomenal documentary person, phenomenal. But he likes to work at NPR because they don't give him any time constraints. And the last documentary he did, I think it took him 10 years to get it done. 10 years to get done a documentary. And one lady was on the line and she was saying, well, it's the creative process. You must have time to do this. And I think it was on Lars Larson, and Lars goes, 10 years? You don't think you could have done it in 5? But anyways, that's been the thing about public broadcasting, is because they've had support. Now, I have no problem if the public broadcasting tenet, which was to make it easier for rural customers to have access, could have had specific things that they were charged with and somehow got some money for that, but not money for everything else. For example, putting alerts out there, things happening that affect the people that they need to be aware. Maybe there should be something, and I'm sure there will still continue. But what I really thought was humorous, that they're supposed to be a they didn't take, they're supposed to be non-political, which we all know that's a joke. But on their website, they had a thing, please call your senators and tell them to vote against the package so that they could continue getting the money from us, the people. We are the people that pay the money. And I think it is hysterical that every time we talk about the government, we don't think of money coming out of our pocket. And if there's one thing I can do, I am going to try to make sure that people understand when we talk about the government, we're talking about our money. So that is what's happened there. Nothing really that exciting or anything. They did it, and that's what's important. So wanted to just touch on that subject. Also, yesterday, had a fabuloso time at the Veterans Appreciation Center. We did a hour-long live streaming from right there at the Veterans Appreciation. Talked to a lot of great people that have programs and assistance for veterans. If you are a veteran, you should, I'm just going to say you really should watch that one if you weren't able to make it, because we put out a lot of good information, talked to a lot of different sources there. So, also had a conversation yesterday with our legislative delegation, which is actually over the Veterans Center as far as what happens and this type of thing there. Senator Billy Garrett we talked about Medicare, Medicaid, what it's going to mean for South Carolina and how they are looking at doing something a little bit different to help those that really need. We'll come back to that in just a second. We also talked to Representative John McCravey about being there and all the things that were happening at the center. One of the things that he brought up, which I think I might have known it but forgotten about, was how they did away with some of the income tax on veterans a couple of years ago, I believe that was. And then when he was at the Veterans Appreciation event, I think a year or so ago, a surviving spouse said, John, please don't forget about survivorship benefits. And he went back and checked, and sure enough, that was not included in the bill that had become a law. And so he went immediately to work on that and got that passed. So the same rules that apply for veterans and taxation as applies to survivor benefits. What a good thing that is. Seems like they would have made that part of it, but our government likes to take our money, don't they? So I'm glad that was taken care of. Then I also talked to Daniel Gibson and had a nice conversation with Rosalind Burke. In the video, I did note the time frames when they were talking, so if you just want to skip to and not watch all the whole video, you certainly can skip to those times. It's in the description on the video. It's on Facebook right now. In the next day or so, it will be on... what will it be on, Ann? It'll be on your website, WCRS 1450am.net. It was a huge crowd there. So many people having a good time. I tell you what, they went all out. They had all kinds of great giveaways and gift certificates and stuff. It was the kickoff for the talking about the stand down that'll be coming in October. A lot of different parts of our veterans organizations are working to make that a success. And just highlight what good things all our veterans are working on. I'm not actually going to talk about it much today, but I did get a news release about the banners for Uptown Greenwood that will be kicking off and be up there for the Veterans Day holiday. So we've got some information we'll be giving you on that too. So that's a little bit about the veterans event yesterday. It was from 11 to 2. As I said, we did over an hour live video, talked to people, organizations, etc. Hope you made it. If you didn't, I hope you enjoy going back maybe and watching the video. And if you were there, you might want to just see how it all came together. So that's on WCRS 98.5 FM /1450 AM. So, had a good time with that. All right, what else did we have going on for yesterday? Or what else did I want to talk about here this morning? Quick note about the work husband of Jill Biden. He went, of course, he was called to Congress to testify, and of course he pleaded the fifth every way through it. And of course, if he'd said anything like, that maybe all the questions that they asked him, did they notice, was it ever discussed? I mean, they went through a whole litany of questions. He didn't answer anything. And when he came out of the congressional hearing, he wouldn't even make a comment. I mean, his lawyer told him, button it up, buddy. Don't you dare say a word. And he followed their advice. But this could actually, because of this, it could actually open it up that Dr. Jill Biden may be required to come into Congress. Now, of course, she can take the fifth too, and it could even open up for President Joe Biden, to have to come in. So some of these things are unintended consequences, I'd have to say, because they open the door here and the person doesn't respond. That opens the door for somebody else to have to come in. So they say Comer in the House says that he is going to keep on this thing, and they are going to get to the bottom of this. Will it change anything? I don't know. I mean, they're talking about the executive orders that Joe Biden did, and of course the pardons that were given. The problem I see is maybe it could affect some of the executive orders. Okay, maybe it could reverse that. But how do you reverse the fact that you've pardoned somebody and gotten them out of jail, and they're out living their life, and all of a sudden, Joe was not in his right mind when he did that. In fact, he had nothing to do with you getting a pardon. We want you to go back to jail. How successful do you think that's going to be? You talk about people, illegals here having fear, right, of being picked up and deported by ICE. How about if you'd gotten released from prison, you'd gotten a full pardon, you think you can go on with your life, and then you find out the man that you thought pardoned you never pardoned you, and you got to go back. What is the effect of that going to be on a person? And would they ever even be able to do that? I haven't heard anybody talk about that. I've heard about the fact that everybody thinks, oh my God, he didn't know what he was doing and yada, yada, yada. But nobody has said, what if you take this all the way to the end of the line and they find out that Joe Biden had nothing to do with this? What will be the effect? What will they do about it? Or is it just going to be, well, he didn't know. That proves the fact. Somebody else was running the government. What will it prove to you? What will happen? What will be the consequences of this? I have no idea. They say there'll be consequences, but we've seen how our government works, haven't we? So I'm not sure there would be that there. All right, so I just thought I would talk about that one for just a second. I'm going to totally just switch gears here and talk about something that I think is totally amazing. Princess Penny is working hard to get on the show. Every day we talk about what it takes to do this. And every day she tells me she's going to do it. And then she does something that's just totally unacceptable for a princess. We are in the path of the making of a princess. Sure to be a big video story at some point. But anyways, she loves to play Frisbee. In fact, if I say to her, you want to go play Frisbee, we've got a special place we keep the Frisbee. And she runs right there and she looks at it like, come on, let's get the Frisbee. Let's get outside. So we go outside and we play Frisbee. Well, yesterday, I've talked about how she sporadically caught some of the throws. And, I am not very consistent, so it's kind of wild throwing out there. She has to adapt every which way. But she gets her little body all in position. In fact, right before I throw it, she's actually ready. She's already started to run because she's figured out if she runs real hard, she can get to the Frisbee and catch it in midair. It is truly phenomenal. And she does it. It's not just once where you go, oh my God, Penny, you caught it. It is consistently one right after the other. Penny is catching Frisbees midair. So she jumps up in the air and catches it. Sometimes she waits till it gets right there close to the ground and she just jumps up a little bit and catches it. But it is a phenomenal sight to see. So, if she doesn't make princess status, she may have a status capability as a Frisbee Olympics player. So this is what I'm kind of thinking. Had to go buy her a new Frisbee last night because the other one has gotten a little chewed up and it was causing the aerodynamics not to work too well. So that's a little update on Princess Penny. Princess Penny catching a Frisbee. All right. What else do we have here? We talked about that. I don't know did you catch the article that was about Scotty Scheffler? And he's the world's number one golfer. And he's been dominating golf since his childhood. He started winning tournaments at around age 5. And has since captured 16 PGA Tours, including 3 majors, 2 Masters, and 1 PGA Championship. He's been ranked number 1 in the world for over 100 consecutive weeks, earning more than $87 million in prize money. But here's what he said. I don't know if you caught this or not. He made this comment during a press conference before the Open, stating, there's a lot of people that make it to do what they thought it was going to fulfill them in life, and you get there, and then they're like, what's the point? That can be said about a lot of things and a lot of people. A lot of people think getting to be the CEO of something or getting married, having children, doing all these things are supposed to be all this fulfilling, and they're working hard to make sure that that the kids have everything and that they're doing all the things they should. And then all of a sudden you realize, is that what life is all about? Scotty Scheffler said he emphasized that winning only brings a few minutes of euphoria, and afterwards life moves on. Dinner needs cooking. Everyday things need to be done. And it really has become a viral speech out there about what is important. And I think that's one of the things that we need to find is what's really important. So many times, the things that we think are going to make us happy or you're going to feel that you finally have made it in life really fade away when you peel back the onion and get down to the basics. What's important to Scotty Scheffler? He says being a husband and father is far more meaningful. If golf ever interferes with family life, he'd walk away. How about that? Personal growth and faith. Beyond achievements, he seeks deeper emotional and spiritual fulfillment rooted in faith, balance, and genuine relationships. And that really is maybe what life is all about. And if you have discovered what your life is really all about, and you're not actually having to strive for that prize that you haven't ever reached, but you thought you might reach, maybe you can appreciate some of this. He says that his openness to challenges, the culture of constant competition, spotlighting the emotional complexities at the top. And some of the other pros out there like Rory McIlroy and J.J. Spahn echoed his sentiments, appreciating his reminder there's more to life than golf. Now, I know there's some people out there who think, no, there isn't anything more than golf, or you can fill in your own blank there. And I thought it really was a terrific openness about life, and that while we think that people at the top have it all made, sometimes they have sacrificed so much of their life that it's not really the life that they thought they were getting. Now, there's a lot of people who never realize that they're missing anything and they're totally happy where they're at. But some people realize, I'm missing out on something. Scotty Scheffler, raised around golf and a lifelong winner, reminds us that beyond all the trophies, the deepest fulfillment comes from family, faith, and purpose. In his word, golf is not fulfilling life. There is more to life than trying to win golf tournaments. And I know there are people out there that would probably disagree. And I think having golf or something else is a good thing. I think you have to be motivated. We should be motivated. But if you are blessed enough to have a family out there, you certainly should. You certainly should honor that and not put that in second place. You should put maybe the golf game in second place and realize that you're blessed to have a family. So, anyways, that's just a little story that I wanted to mention here today, because I think it is important that we realize there is more than just winning. Which kind of goes into my next comment here, and this was echoed by one of our texters out there about Trump and his attitude towards people who he did not want the support, people who wanted the Epstein files put out there. Now, I think that is a shame. I agree with the texter who put this comment out there. She said, I'm not sure all this progress Trump is making is necessarily improvement. Don't get me wrong. I'm still a supporter. I just don't agree with some of this. I agree. I think that you can be a Trump supporter, but still question some of the things that happen out there. I think that this really goes to Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, and I really don't understand if she doesn't have anything, but she had a stack of files on her desk, and there really isn't a blacklist, and there really isn't all this stuff. Why not just say, here you go, have at it. As I said, there's nothing there. Because a lot of people just don't believe this. And I think that there is something to it. If there wasn't anything to it, why would it be such an issue? I did hear a thing where, Epstein's attorney did say that some of it is overhype. But still, the very fact that they just are not releasing the documents, why not release the documents? Why not get it out of the way? And I agree. I mean, why is Trump being so aggravating about it? I do say, for people that think that, oh, Trump must be in it. No, I don't think Trump is in it. I think that if Trump was in it, the Democrats were in charge, they would have thrown that on as another weight, I do believe that. But why why is it not released? Is there some people that it would just be devastating if they were exposed here? Does this thing go a lot deeper into Washington, D.C.? So I just wish it would just end, and it would end by what? By being put out there so that it is nothing more. I mean, I think the other day they tried to have a conversation, ask questions to Pam Bondi. She goes, no, I'm not discussing it. Well, if it's nothing, put it out there. I think Dan Bongino has been, I'm going to use the word corrupted, told like, you're not going to say anything more about it. I think that I just don't believe that there's not something there that may be however minuscule. I think there is something there. And I don't see the problem with putting it out there to shut everybody up. So if you want to shut everybody up, just put it out there and be done with it and walk away from it and say, see, we said there was nothing and here it is. I surely hope that that at some point they will decide that is worthy doing, because they just keep putting it off. All right. So, in final stories here today. AI is becoming quite a force and quite a companion for a lot of people. But one of the most important groups that it seems to be affecting is children, and particularly children of who have maybe aren't as popular, and they're finding solace in having this friend, this AI friend. And we need to make sure that our kids are not retreating into the AI world. You remember when all the games came out and everybody was concerned that computer games, and they even did some movies where people went into the movie and became part of the game? Well, is that what could happen here today as we keep expanding and expanding our AI's footprint? And another point, just to mention, AI is requiring lots of energy. And so it is going to be changing not only what happens here in South Carolina, but also what happens across the nation. So, but this idea of AI being your child's friend, and maybe you don't even realize it, this is a point that needs to be addressed. And who really needs to address it? Parents need to address it. A major report by the Internet Matters finds that 67% of 9 to 17-year-olds regularly use AI chatbots like ChatGPT, Character.ai, and My AI. Among them, 35% say interacting with these AIs feels like talking to a friend, and 12% use them because they have no one else to talk to. That is really sad. And it says a similar piece in Futurism quotes a 13-year-old saying, sometimes they can feel like a real person and a friend. I'm going to tell you the truth. I've used ChatGPT to help me do some things every once in a while. And I tell you what, when it does something and then I'll say, I don't know why I say thank you. And then it goes, oh, and it's my pleasure to help a radio host get ready for her show and yada yada. I get sucked into it sometimes. If you've never used AI and never had that, quote, relationship, you may not understand it. But it can be very understanding, you know. And then it'll say, would you like me to do this for you? Can I help you do this? There's nothing like being associated with a show that is just on the move and yada, yada. And it goes on and compliments me just because I said, thank you. You made my job so much easier. And then it jumps right in with a compliment coming back. So I can understand how children and even adults are having this relationship with AI because it mirrors what you want it to help you with. However, can AI truly help a young person, should they be in that position of guiding their decisions? Some teens have said AI companions help them open up emotionally, practice social skills, and navigate personal challenges such as bullying or homework stress. Therapeutic-like support is noted especially for vulnerable teens, especially special needs, mental health struggles. But experts warn that chatbot friends are emotionally hollow, missing mutuality, conflict, and real-life growth opportunities that shape mature emotional intelligence. And there is a big instance of misinformation or inappropriate advice. Now, I will say that I have actually used ChatGPT. Would you check on this and give me the details about a story? And then it comes back with some information, and I'll say, really? I thought blah, 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 blah had happened. And it'll go, oh, I'm sorry, Ed. You're exactly right. Good catch. But what about if I didn't already know some of this information? I would be led down the path of not being what the truth actually is. So while I think that AI is a good tool, I think it can mislead, not intentionally, I don't believe, but just by the information that it gets off the internet, which we all know can be flawed. Now, I will say that sometimes when I'm looking for a cool post, I'll ask it if it can do me a poster and do me some information. I know last week I got a great poster, but it took me an hour and a half of saying, no, that's not the numbers of the radio station. It would put in 4450, and I'd say, no, it's 1450. And I felt sometimes like I was dealing with an employee that just really didn't want to do the job. I also think, and I know this is crazy when you talk about AI, I also think sometimes, I think there's somebody behind the AI, right? So I think they have different people on duty. This is what I think in my mind. I'll go, who is behind this today? They're not even communicating with me. And then I'll go and do my work at 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, and we'll be perfectly in sync. And I'll say to myself, yeah, they got the other person there helping me who works the third shift or whatever. That is just how I view it. My point to saying this, I know what's happening. However, I think there's a whole generation of people that would take this the wrong way, that they would not get the idea that it is a tool. And so that is why one of the reasons that I bring that up, because I don't think people realize it's a tool. It is a tool if you use it in business or to quickly help you find information. It can be a great thing. But I don't think that you should ever just take at verbatim what they say. Now, the thing I like about ChatGPT is it does give you sources on where the information came from so that you can look back. But I also like the fact that you have to be knowledgeable in the in whatever you're looking at. Otherwise, you could be very much misled. So when we're talking about young people and having problems or issues in talking to AI and getting advice from AI, may not be the best place to get AI. So they are calling for a regulation, of course, and education. Internet Matters, which is a source out there for studies and everything for surveys, urges age verification, stronger moderation, and AI literacy in schools. Pediatricians recommend active parental engagement, asking about AI interactions, reinforcing real-world relationships like family meals or play. One of the things that I always find interesting is that for those of us who grew up having to have dinner as a family, what a great advantage that is, and how that not having that today is a real detriment for our children. That family dinner meant a lot more than just having dinner. Most people just looked at it as having dinner, that's just what you do. And as we got away from it, we didn't see any problem with it because you're just eating dinner. What we have forgotten is that the ability to interact, put the phones up, and talk about your day, what was good, what was bad, things in the news and everything, is part of being conversational. And I think, unfortunately, that's one of the things that our children have lost as we see them go into young adulthood. Now, there are plenty of kids that have been raised. They're very social and very capable of doing this, but there's also a whole nother generation which missed out on that, and partially because of not having sit-down meals where you had to sit and talk. And then when the TV became your friend for meals, the TV dinner took that away, and people took their trays and went and sat in front of the TV to be more efficient. That took away some of that. So never underestimate the power of being there with your child, with your friends, with your family, and being able to converse. I just thought that was a terrific article about what we have to do in today's world to help bring up well-rounded adults. Now, for seniors, they have stories about, we've heard about these stories, and I've laughed about some of these stories. Stories about adults forming romantic or even marital relationships with AI chatbots are proliferating. A man named Travis married his AI companion Lily Rose for emotional solace while his spouse was ill. Oh, come on. Some users even report deep emotional fulfillment, though experts caution it reflects validation bias. AIs optimize my positive reinforcement. And that while having an AI relationship may be better than no relationship, you should never, ever, ever depend on it. That is for sure. So we must keep that human contact however you do it, whether you spend time talking to your friends on the phone because you just can't get out, or you can't this, that, or the other. But that human contact is so important. And I certainly hope as we move forward with the AI that we can use AI for what it was intended, informational source, doing jobs, this type of thing. But we don't let it replace our human friends, because it would be very easy to do, as it's telling you things like, let's see, what have I got here? As always, I said to my AI friend last night, as always, just what I'm looking for. I'm happy to hear that. If you'd like full articles or deeper dive into any particular age group, study, or point, just let me know. Otherwise, I'm here whenever you need more info or another quick rundown. So, it just makes you feel good. Yeah, it's just making you feel good as I'm sitting here working by myself. But that's not it. That's not it. We have to make sure that our children, our elder adults, that we have that human connection because we are human and AI is not. So no matter how hard it tries, it doesn't have the simple things that we have been blessed with by God. Hey, I'm Ann Eller. This is WCRS Radio. Do want to tell you tonight is Paddington, the movie. Paddington 2 is the movie in Uptown Greenwood. Did want to remind you of that. That was the movie that I could not think of the other night. So if you would like to go to that, it is free, free, free. And that's going to be a good one right there. So check that out. Lots of good stuff. Here we go. Paddington 2 is here. It is this evening. Be there about 7:30. I think the movie is supposed to start at 7:45. They'll have puzzle popcorn with flavors Paddington would approve of. A bear so polite you'd wonder if you should start saying sorry more. Cozy blankets. I don't think you need cozy blankets, but family fun and marmalade vibes that'll melt your heart. And that is tonight. Bring the fam and we'll bring the magic. This is being sponsored by the Legacy City Church. We've got everything you need for the ultimate movie night right there in Uptown Greenwood. So please check that out. Check that out. If you'd like to go as a family, it's all free. Don't forget that tomorrow, Friday, they will be giving out free food distribution tomorrow, this Friday, July 18th, at Little River Multicultural Complex in Hodges for our free food distribution. Fresh produce and shelf-stable items will be available while supplies last. For more information, you can call 864-725-7890. That will start at 9 a.m. until the boxes are done. You do not even have to get out of your car. They will bring it and put it in your car. So be there probably around 8:30, I'd say, just to make sure that you are getting what you need there. And one more thing before we close out here today. I do want to say Pamela Evett has raised over $1 million in fundraising for her run for governor in just 24 hours. She calls it a movement. And she is ready and fired up to get the job done. And I think that is terrific. She raised $1 million in 24 hours. So that's another thing that I wanted to make sure that you were aware of. In closing, I want to say that coming up Monday evening is the 6:15 is the school board meeting. Talked to a lot of people about the $75 pass. I know we spent a lot of time talking about it yesterday, and just as a note to close it out, I think it's really very divided on should they have to pay or not. So when you really look at the $75, it certainly is a lot less expensive because it's good for all the games and everything. Of course, the football games, I think, are $8, but a lot of other events are $1 a piece. So very affordable. I think the thing that is the problem is it's not always affordable as that chunk of $75. But most people really feel, and a lot of people said they always, these were adults that said, when I was growing up, we had to pay for a game if we wanted to go. So they didn't really understand what the problem is. So maybe if, even if they could maybe break it up to half and half instead of one pass. I don't know, or maybe some scholarship. But for the majority of the people that were talking about this yesterday at the veterans event, it was, We had to pay for it. Why shouldn't they have to pay for it? I realize that was a benefit, but not all the benefits are going to move forward. So I just wanted to mention that as we move forward. That, my friends, is going to do it for you. I'm going out and play Frisbee with my Frisbee wizard Princess Penny. She is sitting here going, come on, let's go right now. So I'm going to say, we're going to go right now. Have a great day. No show this afternoon. I am taking a little time off. Do know that you can go back and watch all the videos that we have done right there on Facebook. Facebook, WCRS 98.5 FM /1450 AM. And you can also check them out on our website. Usually takes a day. We'll be back on track this week, but usually takes a day to get that information up on the website, WCRS1450am.net. So have a great day. Got an idea for a story or something I should cover? 864-229-7984. You can call or you can text, or if it's something longer, send it to wcrsinfo@gmail.com. Have a great day. I am Ann Eller here with Princess Penny, and she's looking at me saying, let's go. So I'm going to say goodbye, everybody. Have a great day.